Excellent service, don't you think? Griffith asked Clark. Very proper procedure, he couldn't help but add in a low aside. Clark snored softly in reply, not even appreciating Griffith's wit. Griffith shrugged, adjusting Clark's head so he was lying more comfortably. That was one of the secrets behind being a well-respected captain, making certain your crew was taken care of. He'd taken such good care of Clark that his mate was getting some well-deserved rest, albeit in a pub, his nose pressed against a wooden table. He didn't see the point of being sober either if he was on land, but unfortunately it took a lot for him to get drunk, since he was so large. He towered over everyone on his crew and couldn't get comfortable below deck. His jackets always felt a bit snug too, since it seemed tailors did not actually believe that a person's shoulders could be as wide as Griffith's. The curse of the Davies family. The barmaid placed another glass on the warm wooden table in front of him. "You need one for your friend, dear?" she asked. Griffith shook his head no and tossed a few coins to her, which she caught handily. "Thank you," he said, as he took a long draught. The porter was fair to middling at best, but it was beer, so that made it all right. They usually ran out of beer aboard the ship, sometime around the second month of the voyage, and this most recent voyage had been over 10 months. Too long without alcohol. Or a woman, to be honest. He did feel slightly fuzzy around the edges, which was good. It also had the benefits of disguising the quality of the alcohol, and the lack of female companionship. He might have attempted some sort of discourse with one of the barmaids, but several ships had docked in London this week, it seemed, so the pub was full to bursting, and the women were scurrying about with no time for flirtation. And while he'd engaged in anonymous couplings in the past, he found the idea distasteful now. He wanted something more, although he had no hope of finding more for the short time they were ashore. So he'd resigned himself to looking, discreetly so as not to cause distress, and consoling himself with beer, and sleeping in a bed long enough for him to stretch his entire body out. That was heaven for him, even if it was a solitary heaven. Plus there was Clark to consider. It would be downright rude to leave his first mate here alone, even if Clark was currently unconscious, so perhaps not the best company. "It's you and me, love," he said to the glass, which was already nearly empty. He, Clark, and his crew had made sure only that morning, and after filing the ship's paperwork with the authorities, he had told his crew to do whatever they wanted until he sent word they were needed. He presumed they were scattered around London, doing exactly what he was doing, give or take a few ales and women. Or, like Clark here, getting some well-deserved rest. He took the last pull from his glass as he saw the door to the pub open. His mouth dropped open as he saw who had walked in. Not that he knew the lady, how could he? Just that she looked like a glorious angel, a vibrant, dark-haired woman wearing a dark cloak of excellent quality. The glimpse he got of her face indicated she was truly stunning, and was entirely out of place in this dingy dockside pub. "I wish you were awake for this," Griffith murmured in Clark's direction. "And I'm reconsidering my stance on anonymous couplings. Although she is clearly a lady, so that would not be possible." Too bad, he thought. For him, not for her. He didn't think a lady would wish to have anything to do with someone like him, even though, theoretically at least, he was a gentleman. The female wore an enormous bonnet, making her have to turn her head to glance around her, a newspaper tucked under one arm, while in the other she was brandishing a tiny sword? A poker for the fire? Oh, a hat pin. Of course, because young, beautiful ladies often ventured into disreputable establishments carrying only a newspaper and an accessory. "The fool," he muttered, shaking his head as he watched her movements. He felt his body tighten in an unconscious protective position. He wished he weren't so determined to rescue anybody who seemed they might need help, but that was what had propelled him thus far, so he supposed it wouldn't stop just because he was off duty.